Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Let's start class in a seated position, whatever that means for you, just finding a comfortable position. You can stack a blanket or a block under your hips. That does allow us to sit up a little bit straighter, lifting through the crown of our head. We'd like to stack the head over the heart and then the hips. Hands on the knees, resting in the center, palms to the sky, whatever feels good. Take a moment, maybe drop the chin to the chest slightly, resting the eyes. And we're just going to tune into our breath. So we've rolled out our mats. We're ready for our practice. And we're taking this time to let go, releasing any tension you might feel in the shoulders, letting your belly fill with new energy with every inhale. And as we exhale, the navel draws towards the spine. And we release whatever doesn't serve us today. Relax the space between your eyes and soften through the jaw. The tongue might gently touch the roof of the mouth. But the goal is to have a nice big inhale through the nose and then an exhale through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels best. We're just allowing ourselves this moment, creating our experience for our practice or setting an intention. Two more nice deep breaths. With every exhale, relax a little bit more through those shoulders. And then on the next inhale, we'll do a big reach up towards the sky. Really reach through the body and then bring the hands down to the heart. Push those palms together, bringing energy through them, and then reach up to the sky. And then relax down. We'll do a gentle opening through the side, so bending into the right arm, left arm overhead. Reach through from the fingers down to the ribs to the hip, keeping the head neutral or looking down. You could twist open to the sky, but this is a nice side body stretch here. On the next inhale, we'll come up, both arms up. And then exhale, left arm drops. Right arm reaches overhead. Nice length from the fingers down through the ribs. Remember to listen through your breath throughout class. If anything feels off, just immediately come out. Or if your breath becomes shortened, ease off a little bit. And then come up on the inhale. Reach up, and we're going to fold just a little bit. So reach those arms out, let them go. Push the palms into the ground and push out. Find a stretch through the back, looking down. Maybe you round now, dropping that head a little bit. Stretching through the upper back. And then back to neutral. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale down. All right, gentle twists to start real quick. Right hand to the knee or the thigh, left hand behind you by the hip. Remember, every twist is about lifting more than the twist. So lift through the crown and then turn that little bit. Try to keep that weight even in your sit bones. Let the shoulders hang down. One more nice deep breath. And then back to center and across to the other side. So left hand to the knee or the thigh. Right fingertips touch the ground. Shoulders down. And again, stacking the spine and then thinking about the twist. One more nice deep breath. And then release. Come back to center. Roll those shoulders back a few times. Find some movement. And then we'll inhale, lift up, find length. Reach, reach, reach. And then just float down. All right, we got a little stretch going. Let's get a little strength, a little bit of core work throughout our entire session today. So we'll come onto our hands and knees. Now we're going to be here for a moment. So if you want that extra padding, unwrap that blanket and bring it underneath your knees. We want to make sure we spread our palms nice and wide into our mat. This is important, so we're pressing in with every inch of the palm. We can also get a nice stretch between the thumb and pointer finger. Unlock the elbows, push out of your shoulders, and engage your core here for a second. Check in on the feet, nice and relaxed. Moving into that spine a little bit, we'll start by dropping the belly, lifting the hips, and looking up slightly. On the next exhale, chin to chest, navel to spine, hunching and rounding the back. Really find a good stretch here. And then whenever you're ready, come back to neutral and we'll do it again. Looking up on an inhale. Exhaling, chin to chest, navel to spine, rounding the back. Now as you're here for a breath, you can tilt your hips from side to side if that feels good. And then come back to center. And we'll do one more. So looking up on your next inhale. Exhale, chin to chest, navel to spine, hunching and rounding the back. All right, back to tabletop. From here, we're going to start challenging our arms a little bit. We're going to drop your left elbow where your palm is, and then right elbow where that palm is. Then bring the right hand back, then the left hand back. Now, as we do this, I really want you to focus in on the core. So this is the most basic one. Drop down, 1, 2, and then back, 1, 2. We're going to do one more, dropping left elbow first, right forearm, and then right palm, left palm. Now we're going to switch. So we're going to drop the right elbow where the palm was, and then drop the left elbow. And then left palm comes back, right palm. You're already going to feel the arms starting to work too. So we're using the chest, the arms, and the core. Left palm, right palm. One more. Drop the right arm, left palm, right palm. Now take a moment, bring those palms out a little bit. Push back, big stretch, release the weight off the arms. Find length through the spine. Feel the shoulders opening. The palms are nice and light, and it's just a big stretch through the whole back. And then come up. Back to tabletop. We'll do a little stretch right now through the legs. So we'll take that right leg back, bring those toes out, spread them wide. Maybe you even look back. Push that heel into the ground. Push out of the palms. Make sure that core is still engaged and that weight is even from the big toe to the little toe. So we're getting that great stretch here. And then we'll release. We'll bring that knee back and we'll do the other side. So the left leg goes back and we spread the toes wide. We have hips distance between the feet and we press evenly down into that heel, pushing out of the palms. And then one more breath here. We'll release. We'll come back. We're going to take a moment. We're going to come up onto our knees, release the arms, roll the shoulders back, bring the hands to the hips, and we're just going to push out. Little stretch here through the front of the body. Maybe you drop the chin down or you can keep the head neutral. Think about squeezing the shoulder blades together. Nice deep breaths. And then release. Inhale, lift the arms up. Find length through your spine. And then relax down. All right, from here we're going to challenge our core a little bit. We're going to bring those arms out. Now, you can come into a plank with your knees on the ground still by bringing your palms forward a little bit and then leaning forward. Let your feet come off the ground. Or you could try and do a full plank. We're going to hold for 5 breaths. So, unlock the shoulders. Remember, knees are in line. Tighten through the glutes, the thighs, the core. If you want, curl back those toes and lift up. 3 more breaths. Find the connection to your core. As you exhale, tighten a little bit more. Are you ready? 1 more breath. Release. Drop the knees if you came up. Release the feet back to child's pose. Hips to heels. Relax the arms. Relax everything down. Take a few breaths. Feel the torso expand into your thighs. Relax the arms fully. Really letting go. Remember, plank is one of the hardest postures or poses for our core strength. It also requires lower back strength as well. So we're going to take it nice and easy. Take a big stretch here. Really allow your hips to fall towards your heels and relax the upper body fully. All right, inhale coming up. We're going to do one more variation of plank. So coming onto the forearms this time. So drop down onto the forearms. Now again, you can go onto your knees, bringing them back a little bit. And then leaning forward so that the shoulders come over the elbows. You could have your palms together or palms on the mat. Completely up to you. Or you could lift those knees up off the ground. Remember, when you come into this, the goal is a nice straight body, no matter where you are. Try to have a nice straight body, and we're going to do 3 more breaths here. Remember, push out of your shoulders. That's the hardest part. Ready? 1 more breath. This is your big push right now for the core and the arms. Release. Release the legs. Come back. 1 palm. Then the other, back to child's pose. We're going to take a few deep breaths here again. Notice how your breath might have changed during that plank, and see if you can bring it back to that smooth, even, continuous breath. We're challenging ourselves with this core work. We want to make sure we take this moment to rest and relax. Two more deep, deep breaths here, really letting go through the upper body. Hips to heels, a little bit more for that last breath. And then we'll slowly come up. We're going to come and turn. And we're going to come on our sides. Include a little bit of everything. So we're going to make ourselves nice and long here. Now we're going to do a couple of options. Come onto your elbow. Remember, if you need extra padding, you can always take your mat and fold it up a little bit. This is a great option to give yourself that little bit under your arm. Try to make 1 line, okay? Now from here, we're going to do a little bit of inner thigh work. See if you can lift your top leg up off the ground. Remember, the bottom leg is about 90 degrees. See if you can lift and then lower, okay? This is stage 1. We lift, inner and outer thigh are working, really bringing the strength into our exercise here. We'll do 1 more. Now I'm going to show you, we're going to do 5 more. You can choose to continue with this variation, or we can challenge ourselves more. We lift, and then we lift, and then we lower and lower. Okay, so we lift the hips, we lift the leg, we drop, and then we drop the hips. So tightening through the whole core, and then lowering down. We've got 2 more. Lift and lower wherever you are, and lower. Wow, burner, right? Let's do the other side. So we're going to do 5 and 5 again. So turning, find that length. So again, bottom leg bends 90 degrees, top leg's extended. You can fold that mat under if you want that extra padding. Shoulder and elbow, pressing in to this knee. Option 1, 5 times. Lift and lower. Think about tightening through the core. We're using the outer and inner thigh here. Okay, you can touch with that top arm if you'd like. 2 more here. Up and down. All right, now if you want the next one, lift and then lift up and then lower and lower. This is so much ab work here. Lift, and we've got 3 more. All right, 2, lift, leg, lower, and then hip. Last one. And lower. Are you feeling it? Pretty intense. Let's come back. Let's bring those legs out. Give them a little stretch. Give ourselves a moment. If it's hard to sit up tall or challenging, bend the knees. Let's lift up for a second. Bring that focus to a lower back release. Head, neck, and shoulders down. Arms underneath the knees. And remember, as you're here, as much of a straight back as you can, especially if those knees are bent, even if the legs are long. Flat back. Take that moment. Find the release here. And then inhale, come up. Release the arms, release the legs. Stretch them out long. Now from here, hips, knees, and ankles are always in alignment. Right leg comes up. We're going to insert a twist, but you could also get a little stretch on the outside of the thigh by crossing it over and bringing it a little bit closer. It's going to be up to you. Lift and lengthen through the spine. Left hand comes across or the inside of the elbow, and we turn and twist, and we bring that right hand by the hip, fingertips pointing towards the corner direction. Remember, it's about lifting through the crown of the head and then inserting that twist. You might get a lovely stretch through the shoulder blades. You might feel a lovely stretch around the outside of your hip area. Check in on that left foot. Draw those toes towards your body, pushing out with the heel. Engaging the leg, giving you a solid base to lift out of and sit up nice and tall. All right, let's come back to center and then just bring those arms across. Gentle counter twist here. And then release. Back to center. Unwrap the right leg. Left leg lifts. Again, you can keep that space, fist distance, or cross it over. Getting a little bit of a stretch through the leg here. Curl back those right toes. Lift and lengthen, and then right hand or inside of the elbow to the knee. Left palms by your hips, shoulders down. Take a few breaths. Remember, length through the spine. Weights even on the sit bones. You can turn and look over the shoulder if it feels good, but it's just about relaxing. Take a few breaths. Almost done with this portion. And then we'll release. Come back to center and then across to the other side. Gentle counter stretch. And then release. Let's even it out. Stretch out those legs. Make sure you have your sit bones connected to the mat. And then again, knees up is always an option. Arms lift on the inhale, and then we fold on our exhales. Arms underneath, reaching for the feet, whatever feels good. Take a few breaths here. Try to find a release through the lower back. When we do our forward folds, we really want to think about folding our torso from our hips. So we might feel some tightness in the hamstrings. We can roll a blanket underneath so we can push into that. Instead of having a lot of bend, we could use a strap. So many options. One more deep breath. And then release. Roll those shoulders back. Sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to scoot forward a little bit so we can come and lay on our back. We're going to do a little bit more core work, a little bit more stretching for the back, all while laying down. So nice and slow. Take that moment. Realign your position so you lift the hips. Let that lower back come close to the mat. Either hips, knees, and ankles in alignment, or feet to the edge of the mat and knees in towards the center. It's really going to be completely up to you. What's going to allow you to release your back for a moment. Let the arms be in whatever position feels best, be that resting on the belly or palms to the sky. Just take a moment. Remember, when our head's on the mat, we want our back of our head nice and flat on the mat so that the chin is lifted towards the sky. This keeps our neck in the most neutral position, avoiding that chin towards the chest, bringing that space through our spine. And take a few more breaths here. Just taking that moment to relax before we push into some core work. All right, everyone's going to bring their hips, knees, and ankles into alignment. So we're going to push into our feet and find that connection to our core or our abs. So when we push into the mat, this allows us to keep our lower back nice and flat on the mat. This is what helps strengthen our core area and protect our lower back. From here, we're just going to press in with that left foot, and we're going to extend the right leg out long. We've done this plenty of times. So that first option is lifting the right leg up and lowering it down. Second option, keeping head, neck, and shoulders on the mat. Left arm overhead reaches towards the knee or the shin. Third option, right hand behind the head, lifting up and crossing the arm to the other side and then lowering down. Remember never to pull on the head. Nice and relaxed. Try to exhale as you lift the leg, tightening through the abs. 5 more. Nice, slow movements. Last 3. 2. And we'll do that last one. And release. Lower down. Bring the leg back up. Press both feet evenly into the mat. Make sure we have a good starting position. And then we're going to do the other side. So left leg extends. First option, just the leg, lifting up and lowering down. Second option, right arm overhead, crosses to the knee or the shin, and then release. Third option, left hand behind the head for support, lifting up. Right arm comes across to the other side and lower down. All right, we're going to do 10 in total. Make sure, exhale, coming up. And then back down. 5 more. Nice and controlled. Think about tightening through the belly. Last 3. All right, 2. And we've got 1 more. And release. Take a moment. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Hug them in tight. Give yourself just a few breaths to relax through the abs here. Stretch out that lower back. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders down. And then release. Check your position. Lift the hips so that lower back is engaged. And from here, we're going to do a tabletop position, but on our backs. So knees over the ankles. Try to get the shins parallel to the ground. Now you can bring the arms down the side of the body so the palms are by the hips and press into the palms and shoulders. That might help with stability. And from here, we're going to do a little scoop with each leg. So we're going to reach that right leg, heel to the hip, reach it out, and then bring it back so that the knees are kind of close together. Left heel goes towards the hip, lengthen through that leg, and then scoop back. So it's like a bicycle with one leg and then the other. And we're just doing a big circle. So try to keep that belly nice and tight, keeping that lower back as close to the mat as possible. And we're going to do a few rounds. So moving slow. Think about that extension through the leg. So we're tightening through those lower abs. Remember to breathe. Few more. Both sides, reaching out long, bringing back together. The lower you can bring your heel towards your hip and extend out towards the mat and come back, the more you're going to engage those lower abs. All right, we're going to do 2 more rounds, both sides. Big circles. 1 more. Both sides. And then release, draw those knees in towards the chest. Another break for those abs. Relaxing, maybe rocking side to side or making a little circle. Massaging the lower back if that feels good. And then release. Let the feet hit the ground. Take a moment. Take a breath here. All right. From here, we're going to come back to that tabletop position. And we have 2 options. You can keep your hands, again, next to your hips. So you press into the arms and you can straighten the legs and then come back. And then straighten and come back to tabletop. This takes so much lower ab strength. The other option, if you want to hit the top of the abs, is to bring the arms overhead, palms to the sky, nice and long. And then as you straighten the legs, you bring those arms up and then down as you crunch and lift up. And you can pulse the arms if you'd like. And then you bend the knees, reverse the arms, bring them back overhead. So exhale, lengthen, and then release. Remember, if you feel any tension in the head, neck, or shoulders, just keep them on the ground. You could also bring the hands behind the head here, lifting up, and then release. All right, we're going to do 3 more. 2 more. Really extend nice and long, trying to hit 45 degrees. Last one. Last push. And release. Release everything, knees to chest. Really take this time. Hug them in tight. And then stretch out the legs for a moment. Reach the arms overhead. Get a big stretch through those lower abs. Nice deep breaths. Think about opening through the front of the body. And then release. Relax everything. Bring those knees up. We're going to lift our hips and move them away from the screen so that we can turn towards that side. This is actually a great exercise for opening up the chest and engaging the abs. So we're going to lay on one side, extending that bottom arm out long, laying on the temple. Knees and hips are stacked. We're going to take the top arm to meet it, and then we're going to open through the chest. So we actually have to use our core to keep ourselves balanced as we open up. And then we come back, and then we close the arms. We roll onto the back of our head as we open, opening through that chest. and using those abs, and then we close. So do a few more rounds, move at your own pace. If you want to pause and hold for a second because that feels good, or if you just want to flow back and forth thinking about engaging the abs. Try to keep the spine nice and neutral. That's why we make sure to stack our knees and our hips and our ankles. We'll do a couple more. Just enjoying this opening through the chest area. Let's do one more big open. And then back on the side. Release. We'll slowly roll back to center, maybe pausing for a moment. You can bring the knees into the chest if that feels good. And then we release. And then we go to the other side. So lift the hips, turning over to the other side. Stack knees, ankles, and hips. Bottom arm extends. Top arm comes to meet it as we lay on the temple. Then we open up that top arm. We roll to the back of the head. We get a great stretch through the chest, and we engage the abs slightly. And we go back. And we just keep moving in a way that feels good. Remember to breathe. Never pushing too far, just enjoying the opening of the body. You might really feel the abs engage after all that work we put in. Try to enjoy the chest stretch here as that arm opens towards the earth. Few more. Last two. All right, let's do one more. Come back to center. Nice and slow. Lift the hips. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Taking that second, really hugging them in. And then we'll bring the hips, feet to the floor, lift the hips, bring them to the mat. Arms down the side of the body for a small bridge. So hips, knees, and ankle in alignment. Feel your feet. So find that connection from the big toe to the little toe, ball to heel, nice and even pressure. Lift the chin so the neck is neutral, and then think about peeling the lower, middle back off the mat. Squeezing the glutes to lift as high as we can. Engaging with the core. Taking two more breaths. Really think about lifting higher, squeezing up, and then release. Come back down. Taking a moment to rest, and we're going to do that one more time. So peeling the hips, the lower back, and then the middle back off the mat. Think about tightening to lift the hips higher. Are your knees in line? Where's that weight on your feet? Don't let the knees fall out wide. Keep them in line with the foot direction. And now release back down, knees to chest. Nice and tight. Rock side to side or circle if that feels good. And then we'll let the feet hit the ground. Bring the arms down the side of your body so that the palms are next to the hips. And then knees back to the chest and then toes to the sky. Nice bend through the knees. I'm going to give you two more options here. You can stay with your toes pointed to the sky, nice bend in your knees, or you could push those heels out, or you could take a strap and get a stretch through the legs by taking that strap to the balls of your feet. And then if the heels don't go to the sky, you just push out and you use that strap to pull up to wherever feels good. Reversing blood flow, getting a little bit of a stretch if we want it, or just enjoying having those feet up to the sky. realizing that it definitely does take those lower abs to keep the legs up, but we're just enjoying the moment. 2 more breaths here. And release. Bend the knees, bring them in towards the chest. We're going to stretch those legs out nice and long. Reach the arms overhead. Get a big stretch through the body here. Length from the fingers to the toes. And then relax. And we're going to walk the feet over to the right side. So walk them over a little bit. We're going to create a banana or crescent moon shape, crossing right over left. Reaching the arms towards the right side. That right hand goes to the left wrist. Getting a stretch through the side body. Just take a few breaths. It's a way to relax and open at the same time. And release, release. The arms, the legs, come back to center. And then across to the other side. So again, walking the feet over to the left this time. Left crosses over right. Arms reach towards the left. The left hand grabs the right wrist. And we're creating that crescent moon or banana shape. Taking a few breaths. Make sure to breathe into the belly, even as we stretch through the core. And then release. Release the arms and the legs. Go back to center. Find a nice stretch from the fingers to the toes. And then release the arms. Bring the knees up one at a time. Then knees to chest, nice and tight. And we'll add in those twists at the end. So feet to the earth. Palms as well, making a T or a cross. The other option is 90 degrees with the arms, bending at the elbows, palms to the sky. You can enter into your favorite twist or lift your hips and move them to one side. This creates extra space for the twist and spine alignment, knees to chest, and then across to the opposite side. Remember, if the knees go to the left, the right shoulder is going to peel up off the mat. Trying to stack the knees, we can always take a blanket, block, or pillow, putting it between the knees to help with alignment. You're welcome to turn and look the opposite direction, but listen to your body. Do what feels best. Taking a couple more breaths. And then release. Come back to center, realign, lifting the hips. Maybe you pause to bring the knees to the chest. Then the feet drop back down. Arms go back into position, and then the hips get lifted and move to the other side. Knees to chest and then across. Again, opposite shoulder peels up off the mat. Looking if it feels good or just nice and neutral, chin lifted towards the sky. This is a great way to get a gentle twist of our spine, but also a nice chest opener. Really focusing on stacking the knees, which then helps with the hips and then the spine alignment. One more nice deep breath. And then release. Back to center. Lift the hips. Hug those knees in super tight. Rock or circle or whatever feels good. And then we'll stretch the legs out nice and long. Entering into our final resting pose. Remembering to at least take a moment with a few breaths allowing your spine that neutral position. Feet are at least hips distance apart. Let the feet dangle to the side. You can have the palms to the sky, lots of space between the arms and the side body, or hands on the belly. Take this time, feeling your spine become nice and neutral. Nice straight spine all the way down from the tailbone up to the crown of the head. We allow our breath to return to its natural rhythm. So we still have that gentle rise and fall of the belly, but it just might not be as much. We did a lot of work. We want to give ourselves a moment to rest and enjoy. And just take a few more breaths here. The thoughts might start to come and we just let them pass by. Knowing we've carved this time out for ourselves, we're just enjoying every moment. A few more breaths. Relax the space between the eyes. Two more really deep breaths. Bring that awareness back to your body. Maybe a big sigh on that last exhale. And then we wiggle the fingers and the toes. We roll the wrists and the ankles. And bring the feet together, and then the arms come overhead for one more big stretch. Fingers to toes through the front of the body. And then we relax, bringing one knee up and then the other, allowing us to lift the hips again, moving them to one side, rolling to the other. Always pausing for a moment, taking a breath or two, maybe more. And then eventually we use the top arm to slowly push up into a seated position. Take that time, moving in a way that feels good or sitting in stillness. Take a moment for yourself. Drop the chin slightly. Take a few breaths, be that circling, stillness, whatever that means for you right now. Two more nice deep breaths. And then on that next inhale, we'll lift up, reach through the fingers. Hands come together, and then palms in front of the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.